Let's get weird.
Hello, welcome back to Weirdos. I'm Jay.
I'm Kellen.
I am producer Rodney.
And we are back in your ear holes for another fun episode.
All up in your ear hole.
Deep in those ear holes. How's it been going?
Can't complain. How about yourself?
Not like I haven't seen you enough recently, right?
I mean, everybody's wore out for the tasking process of getting this thing started when we get here. I should have like a pre-set up thing, and we've got to go through that. Why is this not working? This ain't working. So producer Rodney, I'm going to be
We're taking the producer part off.
Yeah, just Rodney.
We were talking about doing like was it Twitch or something else where we live stream us setting everything up and recording it, but it'd be such a tedious process, and if people would stop watching, like they still haven't started recording yet. No, not yet, but we're getting there, guys. Stick with us, you guys. So we what did we talk about last week? 2022 things, good, bad, the ugly of this year so far, and I think maybe last night was the biggest, besides the war in Ukraine, but the biggest thing that's happened this year so far with Big Willie style slapping Chris Rock.
Oh, smack!
Paper beat Rock last night.
Guess he's going to have to move in with his auntie and uncle in Bel Air.
I thought it was closed hand when it happened. I mean, so we're going to talk about the elephant in the room here.
It was totally open hand.
Yeah,
I
bitch slap.
After I reversed it and watched it 6 more times, and they muted it, and then all of a sudden some Australian company put the unedited version because they don't have the FCC there or whatever. Yeah. And it was cool. It was like, what? I just couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I when it first happened, so the whole thing leading up to, first of all, the Oscars happened technically a week and a half ago when you hear this because we record early. So this is the Monday following the Oscars, and obviously you know what happened. But when it first happened, everything leading up to the Oscars this year was talking about how terrible the ratings are and how no one's watching. And, hey, we're going to put some live performances in this year. We're going to have all these fun people. Like, what? Reba McEntire has no business at the Oscars. I'm sorry, she doesn't. But Beyonce doesn't either. And they do all these things. So when it first happened, I'm like, okay, yeah, like they planned that. Like now, because that's what everybody's talking about right now.
Right. 56% jump in ratings.
Yeah, coincidence. Genius move either way. The thing is, like, after he did it, he won Best Actor.
Yeah.
And they didn't say, hey, you know what? Maybe not go up there and congratulate yourself. He apologized to everybody except Chris Rock, you know, which was hilarious.
Apologized to the Academy.
Who he rocked.
But so I was 50-50 before. Now I'm probably more 80-20 that it was real. Just because, like, when you see the unedited versions of Will Smith saying, you know, keep my wife's name out of your effing mouth, like,
yeah, he looked pissed.
Yeah, he did not look happy. And as we said, I don't care for Jada Pinkett Smith, never have. She ruined Will Smith, I think, in a lot of ways. But Will Smith definitely has some mental health issues and some trauma issues he probably needs to work through after everything that's happened to him in his life. And it all kind of came to a head last night. But I really don't know whose side I'm on. I've always loved Will Smith. Like, Fresh Prince, Independence Day, Wild Wild West. Like, I love Will Smith. Like, I always thought he was just like the perfect person. Obviously, we know
Kanye.
That's not true. Right.
Now, what he did,
when he got up on the stage and stole the spotlight from Taylor Swift, all bets are off. Anybody can jump on the stage at any time and take anybody's spotlight
and walk up and just
slap,
pimp smack somebody. But we should be able to make, you know, comedians are comedians, and Will Smith is in a way a comedian himself. Chris Rock has always done what he's done. Ricky Gervais, it doesn't matter who it is. It's always kind of like a little miniature roast whenever they do these award shows and they're hosts. So where's the cutoff point now?
Well, like 2 months ago, the British Oscars or whatever it was, whoever was hosting it said something about Jada Pinkett, like, or talk about Will Smith. He had won the same thing over there that he won over here. And she was like, I thought your best role was being able to put up with all the BS from Jada or something. I mean, and nobody said anything. I mean, she didn't get her shit smacked.
Yeah. Well, I know. I don't know. Whose side are you on, Kellen? Like, you have to pick one. You can't say either way. Like, if you had to
Chris
pick
Rock
one side-
wasn't in the wrong. I'm sorry. I understand the thing of Jada Pinkett having the alopecia issue, and even if he did know about it, was it in poor taste? Possibly. But he's known for being a crude comedian.
Yeah.
Like, his entire comedic backlog is vulgar.
Yeah.
And in that instance, here's the thing. It was obviously driven by Jada, because if you watch the video, after he tells the joke, it shows them, and Will Smith is laughing.
Cackling.
Yeah.
And Jada is rolling her eyes and
And then he
making
turns
the devil face.
and
so
sees.
he must have, he obviously saw her reaction and decided to react. And that's why I think he's in the wrong.
He saw that. He's like, oh shit, I got to do something.
If it was okay for you to laugh at in that little moment, then he'd already told the joke and was moving on. You move on. And then backstage, you can be like, hey, I don't appreciate what you said.
Yeah.
And then if you want to slap him when the cameras aren't on, but to just walk up on the stage. And they said, I read an article, I think Vanity Fair maybe, that said, or it was Variety, one of the V's. Anyway, it said that he told that joke during the rehearsal, and he wasn't interrupted. So, I mean, either Will Smith knew that was going to be the joke, or didn't have a problem with it during the rehearsal part.
Yeah. It was Vogue
wasn't
magazine,
until-
the other V. I'm just kidding. I have no idea.
Women's Day, the
Yeah.
German Women's Day.
I don't fault either one of them. I mean, it could have been handled differently. That's why I think that's why I do kind of lean towards it being staged to a degree. But there's so many memes of it now. My favorite one is The Pursuit of Slappiness, where it's
I saw that.
Will Smith holding little baby Chris Rock's hand, and then another one was just Jada Pinkett said Tupac would have shot him. Like, that's not good enough. Like, Tupac would have shot him. Like, it's never good enough.
Wait,
Will.
what?
But
Ew.
in case you haven't figured it out yet, 7 minutes in, this is going to be one of our regular episodes where it's just unscripted, where we're just going to sit down, we're just going to have a conversation with friends about what's going on lately, what's on our minds.
It's kind of almost like a catch-up.
Yeah, we haven't seen it. You know, the way we do this, we record 2 episodes at a time, and then in between each one, we do a video. So, like, it's a month before we really sit down and do this. Yeah. So it is kind of catching up. I mean, you used to be at my house every weekend. You need to come back, by the way, my wife says.
I know. I'm going to finish that.
I said,
they're still in the back of my car.
He spent so much time there. I'll let him
I'm getting a get out of jail free card.
But, you know, we were talking like it would be nice to have some recurring episodes. And I think Unscripted is just one where we just shoot the shit. I think, you know, our relationships are to the point where we can do that and be entertaining. We don't have to have a piece of paper in front of us telling what we're talking about. Now, with that being said, someone said they have a big rant they had, and I'm just going to let him go ahead and go into it.
Okay.
Let it out.
So,
Kellen is the one with the rant.
Oh, God.
So I was sitting at work the other day, and I've been to backstory. My truck is getting older. It needs some work. Nothing I really want to put money into, because I feel like at this point it's 200-something thousand miles, 2006 Dodge Ram. It's not going to be worth the amount of money I would have to put into it to fix the things that might be going wrong soon.
But
like
you
the
could sell it
transmission
right
and
now
stuff.
because trucks are going for a premium.
And I can attest to what he's saying, because when you helped me and my dad move some stuff around, and while we were in your truck, it just went bing.
The emergency brake doesn't work anymore. So anytime I stop, it reminds me that the emergency brake doesn't work.
I was like, Jesus Christ.
So yeah, it's just bing. So anyway, I've been like casually looking for vehicles. And I was at work the other day, and my boss was talking about something I don't remember, and he's like, "Oh, have you seen the Ford Maverick?" And I'm like, "That rings a bell. What is that?" And he was like, "It's the little truck that Ford came out with this year." And I'm like, "That's right, I remember that. I remember seeing the Gabrielle Union commercials with her with the little Ford Maverick." So I'm like, "Let me look that up." So I look it up. Love it. It's 100% what I want my next vehicle to be. It's a small truck, 4-door, plenty of room, has everything that I would want, and it's reasonably priced. Base model starts at $19,995. So just the bare bones, just the basic package, which would be fine. There's I priced on the Ford website, and for everything that I would want, it's still only out the door 24.
Yeah.
Like dealer fees, processing, destination fee, all that. So $24,000 is what I'm looking at. Okay. So this was the most popular vehicle that Ford put out in the fall of 2021 when they started their pre-orders. So Ford didn't cancel, but they put a hold on taking any more orders based on
Production.
the production
Right.
issues, the getting parts and stuff. So they basically put a hold on that until the fall of this year. So they're not making them except to fill the orders that they already had. And some dealerships should be getting an allotment of what they ordered. But there's no time frame. Like I've spoke to three different dealerships, Ford of Franklin, Miracle Ford in Gallatin, and Ford in Murfreesboro, and none of them can tell you when they might get one on the lot. Fine. That's okay. Truck's still running fine. I can wait. So I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get on the secondary market and look and see if there's any that are for sale. Because, sometimes people have buyer's remorse and they, it's too small or it's not what I thought it was going to be. Just sell it.
$31,000. You found one. Sorry.
You're adorable.
Close.
So this is my rant. Fuck you, Cars.com, Carvana, CarMax, and all of the secondary markets that are taking this truck and upselling the shit out of it.
What'd you find?
So, for reference, it comes in an XL model, XLT, and in the Ford Maverick Lariat, which is like the high-end version of that truck. Priced, net price, destination, MSRP, everything. If you were to get the Ford Maverick Lariat, top of the line, first edition package, super luxury package, $33,250. All the bells and whistles.
Which is fair, right?
Yeah, you're getting because the Lariat's the only one that's all-wheel drive. The rest of them, the other two have the hybrid engine and can't do four-wheel drive. But they're front-wheel drive, which is still nice for a truck because you don't have to worry about the tail sliding as bad. But anyway, so fully loaded, best version of this truck from Ford is $33,250. Carvana has the XL, the bare bones model,
31.
$34,990.
Jeez.
They also have an XL model, $36,500. They have an XLT model on Cars.com, $39,400.
None of these are sponsors, by the way. Because
No.
you're wondering.
No.
Especially not now.
Carvana also has an XL version for $38,500. These are used. Granted, they have 573,000 miles, 5,000 miles. They don't have a lot of miles on them, but this is a used vehicle. You know what I was always told growing up? The moment you drive it off the lot, it's worth less than you paid for it.
Unless it's COVID, they don't have any supply whatsoever.
Russia has an effect on that too, I'm sure.
And let me tell you this: my boss, just for reference, my ex-boss had a Tundra. I think he bought it for 36, and the company he bought it back from him for 41.
yeah, I've heard that they're buying stuff for more
2
than you
years
paid
after
for
he
it.
bought it.
That's not my fault.
Yeah, that's not Kellen's fault.
No, it's not.
Hey, it's not Kellen's fault. Back off.
You're a nationwide company. You should just sell it for what it's worth instead of inflating the out of your prices, because you know what's going to happen with that is when all of this stuff is over and supply lines are back to where they should be, and all of a sudden production's good and there's more used cars than there were before, the prices are still going to be the same. They're still going to be outrageous because they've been charging that, so they're just going to keep charging that. And that's the problem that I have with all of this, because instead of me being able to get a nice new truck that I wanted for a reasonable price that I could afford with no problem, the best I can do is $16,000 over retail price.
I was getting ready to tell you stop editing yourself, and you stopped without me having to say it.
right.
Also, Rodney is sponsored by Carvana. That's why he said that. No, you're right, and I didn't say producer Rodney because he's
I was suspended today.
But yeah, when we bought our new cars, because for reference, was it the very first episode that we ever did? Was the luck where I got hit by a drunk? Was that in that one?
I think so. Yeah.
If you remember, a year ago, last Halloween, my car was hit by a drunk driver on the side of the road in Columbus, Ohio, at a brewery. So I had to get a new car. So Lindsay and I both went to Nissan, and I couldn't afford anything either. Like, my dad helped me out because I had just got that car. Like, it was pretty new. I was not planning on having to get another one so soon. So we went to Nissan. So I got Nissan Kicks because that's all I can afford. And Lindsay got a Rogue because she couldn't afford that because she makes more money than me. But I hate it because it's so small and I'm a big guy. And like I get down, especially now. I got hit in the stomach this weekend with a softball. You were there. You saw it. You heard me go, you know? So like getting down in that little car, I'm like, oh God, like it does not feel good.
Yeah.
But I would love to have a Bronco. But I can't afford a Bronco.
That's the thing with this truck too, is I don't like to go into anything like this. Like even smaller purchases, I like to, like on Amazon, I'll look at the star ratings and read reviews before I buy anything that isn't, under $10. Something that I'm like, I want this. I want to make sure it's good quality. So I watched YouTube videos of people that actually test drove, actually tried the vehicle. There's a guy that was 6'6" that sat in it comfortably. I'm 6 foot tall. So if he can fit in it comfortably, I'm like, well, that's plenty of room for me.
Is the Lariat like a king cab also?
They're all 4-door. They're all 4-door trucks. Yeah. It's slightly smaller than the Ford Ranger.
Show me a picture.
It's
okay. I mean, it's a handsome boy.
It looks just like a Ford truck. It's just a little tiny baby one.
Like the Colorado, the Chevy.
Even smaller than the Colorado.
Oh, wow.
It's about
because the Rangers are now full size.
Yeah, it's the comparison is like a foot shorter than the Ford Ranger.
We're losing so many listeners.
Car talk.
Welcome to Car Talk. Welcome to the garage.
But it's just it's so frustrating because like my thing with it is these companies know that people are still hurting. Like the economy hadn't gotten back to what it was. The gas prices are going up. People haven't recovered, from COVID, and you're going to just be like,
yeah,
come buy your $21,000 vehicle for $38,000 because we can.
Yeah, it's definitely taking advantage, and independent companies can do that. It sucks. I couldn't buy a new car right now.
Welcome to capitalism, ladies and gentlemen.
Right. I have to buy
the perversion of capitalism.
No, absolutely.
We have to buy a new water heater. So when we got home Saturday, it was like, what's that smell? And like we're trying to figure out, tracked it down to our utility closet, and the top of the water heater is rusting and leaking. I'm like, fuck. Like,
that sucks.
Like, you Google it, there's no, like, you got to replace it.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
When the guy came to look at it, he's like, oh yeah, you have to replace my thanks. Like, thanks, buddy. We knew that. But he's like, how's your air conditioner? I'm like, I don't know. It came with the house. And he's like looking, he's like, that's from 1984. I'm like, I'm from 1984. That's
you
fun.
Shut your mouth while you're talking to me.
It's doing about as well as I am. But he's like, you probably need to replace that. I mean, yeah. He's like, have you had a service since you lived here? I'm like, yeah, no. I should have said, yeah. Like, I don't know this. Yeah, I sure did.
Is your power bill pretty high?
Huh? What?
We sound so old right now.
We are old.
Did you say it's his power bill really high?
Yeah.
Because it's not
my power bill.
It's not an energy efficient.
No, it's not at all. It's really not that bad. When we told the guy how much it cost, he's like, well, yeah, that seems about right. But so it's right above the water heater. So he's like, we can replace the water heater, but if you have to replace that, we're going to have to take all that out and do it again. So, of course, he talked us into doing it both at the same time, which we need to. My idea was like, just service what we have.
Yeah.
So he started talking about buying a new one. I'm like, well, I just kind of wanted you to come out twice a year and service this. And he's like, no, we can't do that. It's too obsolete.
Absolutely.
It's like,
that sucks.
Yeah. So that was my weekend and getting hit in the stomach. I have a rant that we picked up off of yesterday that I didn't really have, like, obviously there's plenty on my mind because that's, me, and it's all negative.
I'm so glad that you said it and I didn't.
So yesterday, we won't say any names, but my particular besticle / podcast partner, I talked him into playing softball.
Besticle.
Yeah. So on the softball team I'm on, I don't know. I don't think any of them listen to this. I give a shit if they do or not. But one of the guys is very obnoxious, and he thinks he's better than everybody else. And he is better than some of us on the field, not as a person. He's a piece of shit. But he feels like he can talk to people however he wants. And this rant is not necessarily directed towards him, just so much as
his ass.
People in general. So he's made 2 of my friends stop playing because of the way he talks to them. One of them may or may not be sitting across from me. Another one may or may not have been our only guest this season. But
are you kidding me?
No. And you know these 2, and they're super nice guys. It takes a lot.
Extremely.
So he's gotten better, but he's gotten, he still has his issues. But the rant's not him. It's just about people in general that don't know how to talk to others. You know me well enough that I'm not a happy person. I've battled with depression my entire life, adult life. I don't know if I was depressed as a kid. Probably was. But you don't know what people are going through.
No, you don't.
And for you to talk to someone like a piece of trash that you've met for the first time,
that didn't do anything wrong.
That didn't do anything wrong. You don't know their name because what Leah was what he wrote on the sheet. Like, don't talk to people like you know them, and don't talk to them like they're stupid. You don't know what he's going through personally. You don't know what I'm going through personally. You don't know what Rodney's going through personally. Talk to us and everybody else like they're human beings.
Because that's what we are.
And I'm bad about it. I am bad about it too. Like, you've heard on this podcast how many times we shit talk Roger. Fuck you, Roger. Like, that's just, that. But I'm that way too. But
you love him.
Yeah.
I know you don't want to admit
it. Debatable. Loathe, love, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's just the way of the world right now. Just like we talked about in the beginning, Will Smith, instead of saying, or either way, like Chris Rock doesn't necessarily know what they're going through.
Yeah.
Will Smith doesn't know what Chris Rock's going through. I'm just going to walk up on stage and slap him in a room full of his peers and, nations watching it live. We've lost respect for each other.
Yes.
1,000%.
Whether we even had it to begin with, I don't know. Like,
we had a semblance of it.
Yeah. Like, a lot of my anger and me being miserable is stuff that I can't control. And it's something that I've tried to fix, and I can't fix it. Like, I know how I am as a person. I know how I am on the inside. As far as like my work and job goes, I respect my job, and I respect how people view me at my job. So I want to do my job correct. Mm-hmm. I want it to be perfect. But no one else around me is that way. That bleeds into my job, and it irritates me. And I'm like, I can't do anything about it. Like, I can't fix them. I'm not a supervisor. I can't go there. Hey, listen, you've been standing there talking for about 10 minutes. Why don't you go do some fucking work? Like, I can't do that.
Right.
And it makes me miserable, and I can't fix that. Like, I try so hard, and it's just things I can't control. Like, today was a shit day. Like, the first half was great. And I told myself, I need to go to lunch early because I don't know what's going to happen. I went to lunch early, took a 25-minute lunch, came back, and I had 6 voicemails. And just a mess. Like, I was gone for 30 minutes. 30 minutes. And I have this shit ton of stuff I have to do. And these people that are mad. And, like, no one understands. I have no help. No one understands it. And everybody else in that building, I don't know how I went from respect to this, but everybody else in that building does whatever they want at their own pace. You know? Like, I have 10 things here, there. I have 30 things I have to do in this hour and a half I have left of work. I could say, like, everybody else would be like, oh, I'll do this tomorrow. I'll get this. But I can't do that. I cannot make my mind do that. I have to say, I have to finish this before I leave. And that in turn makes me miserable. And I just sit there and I'm just fuming. And I'm like, I can feel my blood pressure like rush over. My face gets so hot. And I put myself in that situation, like, but I don't know how to fix that. Like, I don't know how to make my mind change. Like, it's too far gone, It's like, I'm too far gone with how I am in life to change how I feel about things. And then when I get that way and I get angry, and then I'll, go to the bathroom and I see people just standing and talking, and I'm doing 10 jobs at once. They're doing 0.
Get them paid probably close to the same.
Yeah, it runs, and they're probably getting paid more than me. Like, it runs all through me. But like, I can't be that way because I'm just making myself miserable. No one else cares. No one else cares I have 30 things to do.
Nope.
But I can't change my mindset on that. I guess that kind of can be respect. Like, no one respects my job like I do. But my rant is more about myself and trying to change how I view things, because I know not only did I have a bad afternoon, I know I'm going to get home and have to clean up dog shit. Because Zoe's blind, and she gets up, she poops, and then she walks in circles because she has a nasal tumor. So she just walks, and she walks in it, and then she walks all over the damn house. I mean, we've gone through boxes of Swiffers for like, side rant. Swiffer sucks. Have you ever used a Swiffer? We're podcasting to millions of people, essentially,
we are.
in so many countries, but Our technology for a freaking Swiffer is like you wrap it around and you stick in this little hole, and it's supposed to. We're like, it's going to stay there. It doesn't stay there.
No, it doesn't.
It does not stay there.
You need the Swiffer Wet Jet.
Not
with
a
the
freaking
Velcro
sponsor,
pads.
and we would never let them be a sponsor if they wanted to be a sponsor.
I 100% would hawk Swiffer right now for money.
But like, you know what's better than a Swiffer? Like a clipboard. Like, it's essentially the same thing. It is the same thing.
Just throw away.
But a clipboard is sturdier. You're not punching it through a little hole. Like, hey, stay in there for a little bit, okay, bud? No, you actually have a clamp. Like, hey, I'm going to hang on to this until you're done with it. I'm like, thanks, I appreciate that clipboard. Swiffer's just like, screw it. I'm just going to fall off. Yeah. Man, that went sideways.
This is the Sideways Rant podcast.
Take the ball, toss it to Rodney.
And so, coming here, talking about respect. So, if you're driving down the road, and I had this happen on 3 different occasions on the way here. So, I was South Nashville, so I had to come off of Wedgwood going 65 north. And coming here, you've got to get all the way over to the left-hand lane or the second to the left-hand lane. So, I've got to go across 6 lanes of traffic. Get there, it's a crawl. I mean, it's a crawl. You're not going to get anywhere further down the road, but everybody's like bumper to bumper. I'm not letting this dude over. Mm-hmm. Cool. I'll wait until somebody's respectful. Then I always give the guy a wave or gal wave, and he'll wave back. And it's just like, but I went through 15 people before that person. You know, like, why? So in other countries, like when you go to Germany to get a license, you got to be 23 years old, first of all, to get a driver's license.
I'm okay with that.
Me too. 1,000%. You got to go through 6 months of courses before you can get it also.
Definitely
First of all, you have to turn 23. You've got to go 23 and a half before you can actually drive unsupervised. The Autobahn is there, and the death rate on the Autobahn is nowhere near that on just the interstates here. And the reason being is because there are etiquettes that they have to follow.
Yeah.
You know, if you're in the right-hand lane, that's the slow lane, and that's fine. Be in the slow lane. If you want to go slow, go in the slow lane. In the passing lane, that's the center lane. That's to get around the slow people if you're a little faster. But the left-hand lane is meant for people who are just balls to the wall. Mm-hmm. And that's fine. And you're constantly looking in your rear view mirror to say, hey, this person's going faster than me because they're getting closer in my rear view mirror. Get over. Ooh, let them go. You can get back out there again.
Doesn't happen.
Does not happen. People will make it their vendetta for the day to ensure that you do not merge into traffic, which people understand if you would zipper, which means that car, let the person in. That car, let the person in. It would go much faster.
Well, and the zipper is a ideal model, but we all ride on each other's ass when we're driving. So there's no zipper possibility because we're already just wedged up with each other. If everybody followed the actual traffic laws where you're supposed to keep a car length per 10 miles per hour, there would be enough room for people to just...
Yeah, people totally do that.
No, not ever once.
Dude, we could have an entire episode on traffic. I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole.
And you talking about people in the left lane, they actually did a news report on that where they were talking to people about the new law when they passed a couple years ago where if it's 3 lane, that you have to get out of the left lane regardless of what speed you're going. If somebody else, if you are not actively passing, that you're supposed to exit that lane. And they were telling people this, and at least half of them were like, I'm just going to keep driving in the left lane.
Yeah, who's going to stop them though? Like, you can make that law all day long, but there's no repercussions.
On the Autobahn, they do. They actively police the left lane.
Brother, when you get a fine for impeding traffic on the Autobahn, it's not a couple $100.
Sorry, I'm not that up to date on my Germany
no.
vehicle laws.
I'm
guys.
just talking about. Well, the thing is, it's because it's a system.
Well, and there's a level of respect they have there.
Also, go to any roundabout here in the United States that you can tell people don't know what they're doing. I would hate doing it, but I'm an advocate for having to do the traffic school every so often. Same when if you have to get a new license, you have to go take the test again because If you're like me, you took your test in Trousdale County. That's 4 stop signs.
A common courtesy.
I didn't learn anything.
does
I learned
not
from my
keep
parents.
Okay, so me getting out of trucking. So there was a study done real fast that there were 10 trucks that were governed at 55, 10 trucks that were governed at 65. At the end of a 6-month period, there were more accidents per capita on the trucks doing 65 than there were the trucks at 55. The mental stability of the people driving 65 miles an hour was less than the mental stability of the people driving 55 miles an hour. On-time service, the ones driving 65 miles an hour had 15% less on-time service than the people driving 55 miles per hour. It is consistency. Think about this. If you're driving 10 miles an hour faster than the traffic that's rolling along with you, you're going to get there faster to the next accident, to the next traffic jam, to the next construction. You're just getting somewhere faster.
Yeah.
You think you're getting to your destination faster, but you're just getting to the next stop faster. I had a 60 mile an hour truck when I first started driving, and I would get in Texas, which is 823 miles across, by the way. That is a long, legally.
That's how many windows Kellen had open on his phone before we started.
80. He counted them. 80. 80. That is insane. I'm surprised your phone still functioned.
It was warm.
It was smoke coming out of it. I just thought it was a vape.
So 823 miles across. So I had a 60 mile an hour truck. In Texas, they have bull haulers, which have some kind of, they don't have to follow all of the laws, especially logbooks, and most of them have to team. But I'm driving across Texas at 60 miles an hour, and people come across the CB when CBs weren't just BS now, but they were like, don't get in the left-hand lane, don't get in the left-hand lane. And these bull haulers would go by at 110 miles an hour, just woof, woof, truck just whipping back and forth. And I would go by a rest area 2-3 hours later, and the same truck that passed me at 110 miles an hour was pulling out of the rest area to do it again. Mm-hmm. That's the issue, is when you think you have more time, you don't dedicate yourself to the time being. Well, I have more time to rest, but we got to the same place at the exact same time because you just could have been a little courteous.
Yeah.
That's my point in this, is no one's getting anywhere faster. What's going to happen is you're going to be flying down, you're going to clip somebody, you're going to have an accident, and you're going to slow up everything even more. So your indecency of thinking you're the only stupid person on this planet is the issue I have. And that goes back to respect. When I stand in line somewhere, I mean, how many people like are breathing on their neck? Not so much now, but it's just like,
They still do it.
it's a bubble. Yeah. Like there's a common courtesy. I open the door for everybody.
Or when you get on the elevator and you're the only one there, and the next person gets on and is sitting in one of the other 3 corners that are available, they stand right beside you.
Hey,
Like, I know I'm good looking. Like, I know I'm handsome. but
urinals.
Back off.
By the way.
Oh, God.
If someone, I will stop midstream. If someone comes stands beside me and there's other options, I will stop midstream. I will pack my stuff up and go somewhere else.
Okay. So yeah, I guess this is Rant Monday.
Well, better than Car Show Monday, which is what we were teetering on there.
Thanks, Kellen. We derailed it for you.
You took it to trucks, man.
I did. But just I don't know. It's to me, even the Ukraine thing going on is just people. They don't care. They don't care.
Selfish ambitions.
Absolutely. It doesn't matter how many people we have to run over to get wherever you're going.
I'm more important than you.
I agree about ambition. I love getting up and being ambitious about the day. But if I've got to take out 5 people in my transit, I'm not doing it. I don't want to do it. I like laying my head down at night going, I was a human being today.
Yeah, like, you lay down like, I did the best I can. I don't do that. I lay down like I could have done better every night, even though if I could or not. But
I do this. I do the same thing, and I think all of us do that to an extent.
2 of us.
Empatheticless.
So sidetrack that song I sent you today. Did you understand what the first words were?
No.
Bleed out all empathy.
Oh. Real quick though, before we get off of traffic, just to see if I'm alone, does anybody else if you're driving down the road, like if the speed limit's 55, I am perfectly content doing 55 unless there's a vehicle in front of me also doing 55. And then for whatever reason, I feel like I should be doing 62. And the fact that you're in front of me is pissing me off.
No, you're right. I usually go 80 on Briley.
I don't know what it is. If I'm driving down the road, Highway 25, heading home, and I'm by myself, I am comfortable doing 55. Just, as soon as there's a car that pulls out in front of me, it doesn't matter if they're also doing 55. I now need to be doing 62, and you're keeping me from my happiness by doing 55.
What's funny is most people, if you would think about it for a second, if you would just back off and do 52 for a minute.
I don't want to do 52.
Yeah, I want to do 52.
I want to do 50.
Well, here's
I'm not Sammy Hagar. I can drive 55 if you weren't in front of me, jackass.
So the thing is if you give it a 52 for a minute, 60 seconds. Think about how much further they'll be in front of you. You can go back to 55 again, and you can have the road by yourself.
Quit being rational, Rodney.
Makes my skin crawl.
I know it does. It makes my skin crawl.
Or wait for the dotted yellow lines, pass them, and give them the stink face as I drive by because I want to make sure they are the idiot that I thought they were.
Do you shake your head at them? So I don't flip people off anymore. I give them a thumbs up because they're like, that guy's crazy. Like, he's not mad. I don't know what he is. He gave me a thumbs up, which is very strange. And I also just like,
I try not to make eye contact. I try to look at them just long enough until like I know that they could see my face, and then I look straight forward because people get shot all the time on the road now because human life doesn't matter. So I just want to make sure that in my mind they know that I know that they're an idiot, but I don't want them to know that I know that they know I'm an idiot.
People aren't that something.
I'm so confused right now.
I understood that completely, strangely enough.
I want to look at them just long enough to satisfy my own inner hatred of that person in that brief moment, but not so long that they know that I hate them and they want to shoot me.
Next week on Car Talk, have you seen the new Broncos? So we'll start to wrap it up. I have one more thing I wanted to say that I thought about, and I'm going to let you guys guess. Do you think it's going to be positive, or do you think it's going to be negative?
I'm going with the negative.
I'm going positive just because it's a curveball.
Ooh.
He doesn't have too many curveballs.
I don't. I got hit in the stomach with a curveball. I guess it could be perceived either way. So my father has been diagnosed with emphysema.
Oh.
We don't know how long he's had it. So when you Google emphysema, most people don't realize they have it until like stage 2 or stage 3. Ballpark, 5 years.
Mm.
So I'm sitting here thinking like, I have 5 years yet left with my dad probably. And it makes me sad. I'm not as sad as I should be because it hasn't happened. It's one of those things where like, it's coming. You don't know when. Same thing with Zoe. With Zoe, I thought she'd be gone last year and she's still kicking. And I'm like, I don't know if it makes it easier or harder, like her being such, I don't want to say chore, but just, having to have so much maintenance may make it easier. I don't know. But I've come to the realization that both of them will be gone in 5 years, which if you think that a dog being important to you is stupid, stop listening to our podcast. Because you're a piece of shit. I mean, I don't care who you are. The dog is my child. She's been with me for 14, 15 years. Got me through hard times. But we all need, same thing with my grandmother passed away in November, like that's a lot for a guy in a short amount of time. So I took everything for granted. I've always taken everything for granted because that's just kind of human nature. Like we take everything for granted. I take you guys for granted, I don't do it.
We all do that
on purpose.
No. It's
just our DNA. This is how we are these days. Don't take people for granted. If you're listening to this, don't take them for granted because they're going to be gone any moment. I could have been gone yesterday if that softball was a little bit north and hit me in the head. Like I might not have woken up from that, At least, Kellen would have been there to carry me home, slumped over in his arms. And I'm imagining him faking crying, like, like, is he crying? Like, no.
Hey, Lindsay, here's your dead husband.
Sorry about your loss, and then leave. Here's $5. Go buy some McDonald's. But
I'll Venmo it later.
But then he never Venmos it. Oh. Or then when he does, it's just like instead of a frowny face, it's the one that was just gritting his teeth, like, sorry, or like your hands up, like, sorry.
No, it would be the one where it's the eyes with just the flat mouth.
Just that's your favorite lately. But and it's hard to do because me and my dad haven't gotten along that well over the years. When he was having his medical trouble, like I probably stood up for myself the first time ever, and I like laid into him, like cussing, like my aunt was there, and just kind of like, I'm leaving. Like, I'm leaving this hospital room. He's yours. And, you know, that we all have hard times, but we have to realize that they're not going to be there forever. And, you know, he's like, I got emphysema, and he doesn't care. And I was like, well, stop smoking cigars, what he calls them. And he's like, well, they help me with my stress. Well, it doesn't matter if you're dead. But we went to lunch the other day, and we got in his car, and I don't know if I sent you the picture or not, but there's his inhaler he has to use that he doesn't think works, first of all. And right beside it is a pack of cigars. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. You know, but you can't tell him anything.
Right.
Also, like, at this point, is it just hospice? Like, just do what you want to do. Like, I took Zoe in for an appointment, and I know the situation. Like, I know what's going on there. And the vet said, well, you know, just let her do it. She's just kind of in hospice now. I'm like, fuck off. Like,
wow.
I understand that. I know that. Doesn't mean you say it to me, you know?
Yeah.
But don't take people for granted.
Yep.
Love everybody. Not everybody. I hate a lot of people. But love the people that matter to you. And just realize they're not going to be there forever. And sometimes it's going to be quicker than you think, and it's going to hurt. And you're going to look back and say, did I do this? Did I spend enough time with them? Did I act right? You know, and sometimes the answer is going to be no, and that's going to stick with you for the rest of your life. So if you learn nothing else from this episode, learn that Rodney likes to go 52 and a 55.
I do not.
Kellen hates Carvana. And I'm a piece of shit that takes people for granted. But I don't know what our swear counter is on this episode, but it was pretty high.
Yeah.
I mean, Kellen ran with it. I'm like, what am I supposed to do?
That's the first time. So, I mean, this will be Kellen Cusses.
Unedited,
cusses.
unedited, unscripted.
Spelled Kuss.
If I was clever, I would come up with something swears in automobiles.
It'll hit you.
But it'll hit me later.
So,
but
finish
Swears, feels, and automobiles.
Hey, there it is.
Ooh, fancy. So, talking about not taking advantage. And I think I tried to give everybody the benefit of the doubt, because I think sometimes I'm in such deep thought, I lose track. I've got such a laser focus of whatever's happening at the moment. People think, and like, Christy, are you okay? And I'm fine. What? You don't understand what you're alluding to people. And if we could just have just the slightest step back from ourselves and give other people a little bit of something, I think we would probably love ourselves even more. And I think it would just be this endless loop of better.
Yeah, I agree. Start that fucking music so we can hug it out. I'm going to hug you guys so hard. Hey, follow us, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram,
YouTube, Weirdos YouTube channel.
Thanks for listening. I'm Jay.
I'm Kellen.
And I'm just Rodney.
Just Rodney today. Maybe producer Rodney next episode. We'll see. Stay tuned.
And keep it weird.
Trucks.
Weird.